Hello and welcome to the video. Today we have the second part of our fully narrated miniseries, inspired by WarHammer 40K. If you haven't already watched part 1, consider going back and getting up to date. Also, if you could hit the like button and comment any feedback you have, it would really help me out. Otherwise, on with the tale. Letters to the Dark Part 2, written and narrated by Henry Tallow. 15th of December 2527. Dear Mother and Father, you'd better get the whole family round for this one. We made it to the Faraday system, and boy is she a beauty. It took us most of the last 2 months to get into K1-IL's sphere of influence, but after the jump it was mostly business as usual on board. I don't remember the jump, unfortunately, so nothing to report there. We were all strapped into our bunks and knocked out with some pretty potent stuff for the journey. Apparently it only takes a few minutes, just the time it takes the ship to travel its own length into the wormhole, which is hard to believe. Aside from the headache after waking up, all went according to plan, so no complaints here. Hopefully now that we're through the wormhole, I'll be able to receive your replies. The system looks pretty similar to ours, honestly, just a lot of nothing. On the PDPs or monitors around the ship, things look so much closer together than they really are. So if you look out any porthole, basically all you can see is the sun and other stars. Plus, obviously now we are closer, planet K1-IL. The guys have started calling it Planet K, or Planet Kill, because of the way it looks written down. I like the sound of Planet Kill. Simply put, that is the military's objective. Wipe out the grubs and leave the rest up to the GW. Planet K is going to be a much better place when we're done with it. It's a pretty planet. Ma, Mary Beth, you guys would love it. It looks sort of blue-yellow from out here, but the scans and probes, plus the original science team's pictures, show a vibrant green planet with plenty of oceans. Most of the planet's landmasses are centered around the equator. It doesn't have any ice caps like Earth does. Just 2 desert islands in the north and south, the only 2 on the planet. The day-night cycle is very similar to Earth's, in terms of the galaxy that is, so I'm told, with a day being roughly 30 hours long, which is pretty convenient for the 10-hour shifts the Corps has us operating on board the passive world. The temperature varies from -10 or so up to 40 degrees Celsius, depending on the time of year, and that goes for most of the planet. It really is a paradise. Mary Beth, maybe once we're done here and the permanent space lane is opened up, you and I can visit. It would be the perfect place for a honeymoon. Green forests, magnificent cities, and endless beach. I can just imagine it. It's crazy to think that in just 1 month, well, 5 weeks, we will be landing on Planet K. We still don't have an exact ETA. The brass and geeks are still trying to figure that one out. But we have rough locations and timings. We, on board the passive world, will be landing to the far east of the Spire. That means, other than the westmost landing location, we will be the farthest from the Spire and Central City, because the north and south locations, and all the ones in between, are restricted by the size of the landmass. So, not only will we be on an alien planet, in an alien system, but also on an alien frontier. Father, it will be like so many of your vids and novels. It does mean we will be the closest to the grubs on our side. The scans show that the majority of the grubs are on the far side of the planet, almost directly opposite the Spire. As far as the geeks can tell, they can't swim. So if they want to come and get us, it will be from either the east or west. I wouldn't have it any other way. Fastest way to earn medals is to be in the thickest fighting. So I say, bring it on. By the way, the pay goes up dramatically the more medals and promotions I get, so believe you me, I'ma do you all proud on that front. I'll speak to you all again soon. I can hear the guys calling for chow. Goodbye. P.S. Mary Beth, I love you. 12th of Jan 2528. Dear Mother and Father, Happy New Year! I hope you all had a great time on the farm. I assume you did the usual. We are just a few days away from our landing. The geeks in command have finally agreed on a date and time. I have no idea why it has taken them so long, but tensions have been high for some reason. I mean, I'm itching to get down there as much as the next man, but it's not like someone else is going to come along and lay claim to the planet while we decide. Nick says it's got to do with weather conditions on the surface, but that sounds like overkill. Nix is one of my light riflemen, LR for short. He's a lot smarter than most, since he did final school, but he only ever has theories. Mostly, they get put to rest when the brass or geeks open their mouths and tell us what's what. Either way, we will be landing on the 15th of Jan, 2528. We are now close enough to the planet to see mountains and weather patterns. The blue-yellow tint to the atmosphere has gone, replaced by the green of Planet K's forests and jungles. I'm glad to be done with the passive world. Don't get me wrong, there are tons of things to do on board, but I'm starting to go a little stir-crazy. Nearly 6 months of spaceflight is enough for me, I think, especially with the anticipation always looming. SCC-24, my core class, are going to secure the eastern frontier, but Echo A1, my company, won't be stationed out there setting up the FOBs for quite some time. Instead, I'll be working closely with the Mechanized Corps. It's something I've been looking forward to for nearly this entire journey. Tanks, troop transports, bulldozers and tractors, all bigger than our house back home. I'll be sure to send through as many pictures as I can. They'll be building a road network between some of the far-reaching FOBs and the passive world itself, which should be a functioning city by that stage. I think us troops are mainly there to patrol the area and to do grunt work while the engineering corps sort out the roads. That means we'll probably be doing a lot of walking, but I'm sure there will be plenty to see. It should be a month of bliss. We'll be away from the front line, so there won't be any real threats, aside from being run over by the jockey drivers themselves. But then we are getting rotated to the newly set up and connected FOB designation Goodbye Faraday. Then it will be 1 month on the front lines, then one off, at least for the time being. The brass wants to give us all a crack at the grubs before too long. I'm a little upset that Delta B2s get to face off with the grubs before us. We kick their butts across the board in training. But if someone needs to keep the grubs busy for us to get situated, so be it. Maybe by the time we rotate in, they will know where we are and come right for us. Heaven's hoping. I'll write you all again once we have landed, and I'm set up. Goodbye. P.S. Mary Beth, I love you. 2nd of Feb 2528. Dear Mother and Father, our landing was a success. The whole process was over within a few short hours. Then bam! Boots on the ground. Planet K's gravity is very similar to Earth's, if only a little heavier. But that doesn't bother anyone. We are all so strong and fit these days. A little extra weight is nothing. Once we touched down and got our planet legs back, it only took a short while for us to get used to walking with real gravity again. We were off. We are roughly 300 kilometers from the spire, and our farthest FOB is another 100 kilometers further east. We didn't have to walk that far, luckily. We're only stationed about 20 kilometers away from the passive world. The forest we are in is incredible. Everything is so vibrant and green, and Mary Beth, there aren't really any bugs to speak of. Not nasty, annoying ones anyway. Not really a lot of anything for that matter. We certainly haven't seen any wildlife. Spook spoke to one of the guys from the science team a few days back, and apparently everyone's reporting zero wildlife planet-wide, aside from a few choice bugs, not to be confused with the grubs. Spook's great because the second he isn't being told what to do, he's off, thus the name. Exploring and chatting to the other units and such, as quick as you can say at ease. We haven't really had all that much to do since landing, patrolling for sure, which is quite interesting in itself, mainly because wherever we go this is the first time a human has been here, or when you go to take a piss, it's the first time human DNA has gotten on that particular plant. It does bring a little joy to the monotony of walking through an endless forest. Not that I'm complaining, mind you. We have a good supply of food, ammo and other goodies to keep us in high spirits. I asked Stripes, my boss, what we're going to do for food in the long run, and apparently, part of the reason for us being out here in the middle of nowhere is to secure and place landmarks, in the form of these radar projectors, to pinpoint locations for auto farms. These are the bee's knees of farming tech, father. Once a field is cleared, one of these machines basically does everything itself, completely hands off. From crops to livestock, you name it, this machine can farm it. We should get one for the farm, if only we had a spare squillion credits lying around. The engineering corps, with the aid of the mechanized corps, is going to flatten the land between where we are and the central cities, and build as many fields, groves, pens and orchards as possible. Luckily, the terrain isn't too steep where we are, but it will be certainly an interesting undertaking. 10 million plus people is a lot of mouths to feed, but we have to remember that we possess the absolute pinnacle of tech. If anyone can accomplish this feat, it's our guys. For the time being, we've been camping, and it's been as good, if not better, than the last time we went, Mary Beth. Except this time, it's with a load of smelly guys who shower far less than they should. The temperature has been a pretty solid 25 or 30 degrees, but it is currently the end of spring, early summer here on K, so it may get warmer by the time we leave. Our daily routine has been pretty relaxed, so far. We get up, dressed, and straight to the mess tent to break our fast. Then we get geared up, listen to the previous fire team's intel report, and get our orders from down the chain of command, and off we go. Then it's typically a day filled with walking and placing down the farm markers. We are still obviously 100% on guard, just in case. But there has been nothing to report on for dozens, if not hundreds of kilometres, so we've been taking it pretty easy. I asked Stripes why the Navy didn't just burn the forest down before we got here, but apparently that would have created an ash cloud so large it may affect our future potential crop yield, which we know all about, hey father. Plus, the geeks still don't know what makes the grubs tick, so we want to limit our exposure to them as much as possible, aside from killing them, of course. At the least, the forest gives us some cover. As well as that, we're going to use the biomass of the forests and jungles to feed our hungry megafarms, so there's no sense in completely wasting it. The trees in this particular area are similar to an old North American redwood. Father, you would love them. Only they are a fair amount shorter and closer packed than what I've seen in the vids. The undergrowth is dense but certainly not impassable. A few guys back at camp even set up a hammock between two of the trees. This biome is pretty common this far north or south from the equator, but it turns a little more jungly a bit further north than our current position. Apparently, the engineers have already got the water purification plants up and running on the north and south coasts, meaning our crops, livestock and troops should all be watered without issue. So things are resting pretty easy for the time being, but soon we rotate to the front, so I'll be sure to keep you guys posted. Goodbye. P.S. Mary Beth, I love you. 9th of Feb 2528. Dear Mother and Father, I hope you are well. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't more than a little upset at the GWAF for not passing on your responses. Now that we've been through the wormhole, our messages should be getting through. They send a package of all our non-military correspondence back to Earth every few days, or so we are told. Nix thinks they haven't been sending anything, but the brass say they have, so I'm not worried at all. I'm sure it's just they haven't organised for everyone to receive their messages yet. Something about galactic security and all. Apparently, all our messages to and from the outside need to be vetted, just to make sure I'm not giving away too much of what Typhoon, our Expanse Major General, doesn't want the press to hear about. It makes sense to me why, but it still sucks. Most of the roads have been cleared, but the Navy is giving us a lift straight to the FOB in an RE, an Air Return Interceptor. It's basically a mix between a jet and a helicopter. The 12 of us will fit on there nicely. I can't wait. We've had briefing after briefing about the grubs, ever since the first reports came back from the front. From the outset it seems easy enough. They don't move very fast, and they sort of meander onward. They don't seem to possess any intelligence, meaning their only goal is simply to get at us. But I see why the brass wanted us to land where and how we did, because the toughest part about the grubs is that they are endless. Reports from the front say that it is night and day fighting. There's barely enough time to swap out troops on the front lines. Luckily, there aren't too many of them at any one time, and we've only taken light casualties. Apparently, they are fast close up, and monstrously strong. I saw a vid of one rip open a tank that had broken down and get inside. Once our troops had finally recaptured the lost ground, there was almost nothing left of the crew inside. They have this disturbing way of dragging the dead or badly wounded away. The brass are still trying to figure out why and where to. Another strange thing is that they seem to come out of these ancient volcanic tubes that were formed early on in Planet K's creation. The geeks have assured us they aren't digging the tunnels themselves, which is a comforting thought. They also tend to stay close to the surface and near their home turf, so they aren't that hard to find. But with minimal casualties for the first month of the war, things are looking up. If I can keep my boys together and everyone sharp-eyed, then I think we have a chance to make it through this. No worries. The geeks say they have mined nearly half the rosenium at this point anyway, so once they get the rest and process it all, we'll be off this rock. I bet we'll take the fight to the grubs and kill them all before then anyway. From what I can see in the vids, at least 2 kilometres of forest has been cleared away from the FOB Goodbye Faraday. I asked Stripes the other day why the Navy doesn't just bomb the land between us and the grubs into a pockmarked hellscape. But it was a stupid thought, because I answered my question before he did. We would never be able to take the fight to the grubs with the mechanised corps if that were the case. Or at least we would have a nightmare of a time doing so. Even the troops would have a hard time of it. What we really want is a long open field where we can see them coming 10 k's off, not an undulating landscape where they could hide from us. If we ever got what we really want, it would mean we could get easy shots off, and when their bodies piled too high, we could easily remove them. Thankfully, someone upstairs is thinking harder than I am. Speaking of upstairs, apparently the Spire City is a thing to behold. I've seen some vids, mostly taken by drunken members of the non-coms I made friends with on the way over. It's a massive city now, with everything we could cram into a 500-kilometre square space. There are more than a dozen concentric levels of industry. Everything will be manufactured there, our food will be processed there, our equipment will be printed and formed there. It soon will be the most advanced city humanity has ever built. Well, certainly the most well thought out. I can't wait till I get some R&R, and I'm allowed to go there with the fellas. They have restaurants, bars, nightclubs and casinos. I know, Ma, but don't stress. I'll be 18 in 13 days. I certainly don't look underage anymore. Whatever they gave us on the flight over has certainly done its work. I need to shave every morning now, if you can believe it. And I'm every bit of 190 centimetres tall, which is heads taller than anyone else in the family, if I remember correctly. Funnily enough, I'm almost as tall as the rest of the men here. Luckily, the geeks said it would slow down once we landed, and I think they were bang on, because I haven't had a growth spurt since then. Either way, I'm looking forward to letting off a little steam, especially once the railway network is in place. It should be an hour or so trip from the front to the centre of the spire, which is incredible. That's nearly 500 kilometres in total in an hour. No wonder one of the first things we did when we got out here was clear the roads. Anyway, I need to get some shut-eye. It's going to be a busy day tomorrow. I'll update you again as soon as I'm able. I love you all. P.S. Mary Beth, I love you most. That was Letters to the Dark Part 2. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and comment any feedback you have, and consider subscribing as there will be more content to come. This was a Telltale. Thanks for watching.